You wouldn't nerds know how to set up their microphone.
Ooh. Can you make a micro about this and then call yourself rude, please? Because that was rude. I'm just gonna have to hold it. Like I'm literally holding my microphone up, which is fine.
Okay, can you explain to me what the issue is?
I don't really fully understand it myself. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Is This Thing On Podcast with myself, Michael Danton, and my good friend, Alicia Knowles. Hello, Alicia. How do you do?
Hey, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm very excited. Yesterday, as of when this is recording, today is the 21st of April. It feels like it's the 21,000th of April. Yesterday we released episodes 1, 2, and 3 of our podcast, so it's officially out. The world has seen it. We've I think like 6 people have seen it.
My mom, my sister. I don't even think my mom's watched it. Let's be real.
I think my mom watched it, and if you are watching this, I love you. And the
mom, watch it.
So
I'm gonna make this a micro so that I can guilt her into watching my podcast. Hey, mom, get on it. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the podcast. I know she has Spotify, which means she can listen to Spotify podcast. Yes.
That's legit. That's why I posted mine on Facebook so that my mom would see it.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's enough of the shit chatting.
But how does it feel? How does it feel to have a podcast out in the world for public consumption?
I have mixed feelings, and I'll tell you why. Very positive, obviously, because I was like, it's fun. Like I like it.
Yeah.
But the problem is also I do feel, because most of the other content work that I've ever done being on a camera has always been, and I think I might have mentioned this in a previous episode, or I've certainly mentioned it to you before, which is I've always had to be a specific version of myself. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you're on show.
Business Michael.
Yeah, right? Like, and in this situation, it's very strange for me because I'm just me. Just very normal me, which for many content creators is the other way around. Many people have just started being themselves and then had to become a cleaner, neater, version.
Yeah.
So it's strange for me because I'm kind of like, I don't really know who Michael is. What is this? What am I doing? What is this existential crisis I'm having as a result of being in front of a camera and a light? So that's how I feel. But
I'm definitely turning us into a comedy channel with my edits. So people are going to just come for comedy and not for valuable information.
Good. Keep it that way. That's fine.
Better sharpen your joke. Also, what is up with the dad joke today?
I just couldn't help it.
Really?
I couldn't help it.
Really?
And you know what?
Okay.
It sounded like one of those jokes.
Follow our social media. But he made this terrible joke where we were talking about him doing TikTok from the last TikTok, the first TikTok you did. And then he's like, I'm a TikTed. A TikTed, get it?
I didn't say the get it. You said the get it. I let the delivery run.
Like addicted?
I know. Said get it. That's not
because
don't put
I had
the delivery on me. I did it right.
It took me, let's be real though, it took me like 3 times of reading it to be like, what is he talking about? A TED Talk? Like, I don't get it. And then it all clicked. And then I was like, oh, okay, fine. Yeah. It's pretty fun. So for me, this wasn't going to be the podcast that I was going to release. And I'm like beyond excited about it. It's like such a fun little, and people I never thought who would be like, congratulations, are like,
What's your, tell me what your podcast would have been.
Well, you already know.
Well, okay, well, I know. Yes, I'm aware. I know. Tell the beautiful people listening and watching.
Hey guys, I was going to do content culture, which is basically I wanted to interview artists in the region. And we filmed the first few episodes. Hey, Karina. And I didn't release them because I was going to do it over Zoom. And then I was like, it's just not, it doesn't feel right. Like what I want that to be is very different. Like me and you over here, that's fine because we know each other. But like getting to know somebody on like a more personal level for me, at the beginning of the podcast, I'd like that to be in person. Would I move to Zoom and like have interviews with different people over Zoom or like over the internet? Of course, but like launching that, I kind of have a vision for what I want it to be.
Yeah, fair.
Zoom calls, isn't it? And mainly because people, I'm gonna be real, people don't know how to light themselves. And I can't have them with their grainy ass video. Like, here's my podcast, guys, enjoy. No, it's not it.
Yeah, I can accept that. Okay, so, well, I'm happy we have a podcast. Let's just leave it at that. As we now have a podcast, we now have some rules, obviously, to follow. We have to follow a certain format that we have given ourselves. And to start that off, our news section of the episode. And again, we're not BBC, we're not CNN, but it just speaking about the things that are going on in our world, and how and kind of what we think about it. So I'm no economist. I don't work on Wall Street, but something very, very interesting that's happened is that oil prices for West Texas crude oil has dropped below zero, which is the first. So for context, that's never happened in history ever. Oil prices going below zero, and I just think I couldn't tell you what the macroeconomic impact will be. I couldn't for the life of me tell you what's going to happen. But all I know is that I think there will be more moments like this in the near future that no one can see coming. No one expects what's going to, we can't see it coming. We don't know what's going to happen. But I think I get the feeling that more moments like that will come up.
Like, obviously, like I was in investment sales before this, so I still follow it a little bit just because of habit. And it's insane because like you would think people would be more cooperative, like in the middle of a pandemic, right? But even at the beginning of this, OPEC was like, okay, we're going to stop producing. And Russia's like, nah, we'll just keep producing. And so like, whether or not it's just like lack of consumption, lack of being able to like bridge gaps and be allies and do something together, like whatever it is, we're in a position now that's like unheard of, like unprecedented, right? Like this isn't, and that's just like one small, huge, oil's huge, obviously, but like one small thing that's like going to then create such an effect after this is finished.
What's most concerning is that it makes sense. If it was something that came out of nowhere and everyone was like, "Holy, I never expected that to happen."
Yeah.
If that was the case, I'd be less. It would feel like less of a slap in the face. But the entire travel industry is dead.
Yeah.
Of course, there's not going to be demand.
But even like the travel industry,
yeah.
But just moving, going from home to work, just basic travel, just basic like to the office, to the grocery store. Like nobody's moving at all, like at all. And this is another point. Actually, my flatmate brought it up, and we talk about the impacts of the environment a lot. But this goes to show that if we wanted to, if we put forth any amount of effort, we could definitely lower our impact of using like fossil fuels, right? Like we could definitely like take that out. And now
is that sustainable though?
That.
Is that sustainable? Do you think like because what will happen? Like let's play that scenario forward 10 years.
Right.
Say that we're gonna stop, like we're gonna limit the impact of fossil fuels. Economies run on that. Economy, like it's gonna take time before like viable alternatives come up.
But there's already viable alternatives now. Like
at
we're
scale?
Just no. That's going to be my following sentence. We're just not backing them. We're not financially backing them to move them forward. Am I saying that it should happen like this, like coronavirus style, like just halt everything, switch it up? No, but
that's going to become a thing. Coronavirus.
It's possible. Style. You know what I mean? Like you could if you wanted to.
It's technically doable.
Yeah, and this is the thing and I think this, again, this is something that I'm going to continue to say, even though if this ever got out, it would probably be what cancels me. But like, there is going to be so much good, I think, that comes from coronavirus opposed to bad. I'm not
say that at all. You're not the first.
Of course not. But I think people are scared of saying it out loud because people are actually dying. And
no, I don't. That's my point, though. I don't think people are afraid of saying it. I think that's going to be it's going to be such a massive thing that, I mean, let's talk about universal basic income, for example. People have been governments have been terrified of the idea of universal basic income because, for whatever reason, they didn't have enough data, or as far as they were concerned, they didn't have enough data.
Right.
Governments can't, fund it. They can't afford to do it. But now the entire US just did it for 1 month, and next month it'll be more, and vice versa. But what happens in a world where people are showing that these certain types of measures work? I was speaking to a really, really close friend the other day, and he's based in Florida, and I asked him, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think we'll ever go back to normal? And he said something that I was quite shocked by, was that he's like, there's almost zero chance that could ever happen.
Going back to normal.
We can never, ever live in a 2019 world ever again.
Which again, I've heard this rhetoric being pushed on the news as well, is that this idea that we can never go, because everything's changed now. Literally everything's changed now. We're not just talking fossil fuels, but we're talking how people study, how people go to college, how people go to work, when people realize, and this is forcing that, is that in every aspect of your life, you're realizing how much you can actually do completely differently than you were doing it before.
Yeah.
And so when we go back to normal, there's not going to be that version of normal that exists anymore, because we're developing so many different skills and ways of working and ways of accomplishing everything that we need to accomplish right now. So outside of even just the economic how do you say that, hurt that's going to be after this and all of that, it's going to affect every aspect of our life and what we're going back to when this is over.
I think, I completely agree. And I think what concerns me the most is that change will not be a comfortable one. It'll come, we'll be coming out of a sort of, COVID-19 world where people are able to come out of lockdown. Life will go, I said life will go back to normal, but that element of life will be gone.
Yeah.
And there won't necessarily be so much fear associated around it. There won't be, maybe they make a vaccine, whatever, I don't know. But when that time does happen, the change coming into lockdown was uncomfortable. The change going out will be even more so. It will be so much more difficult, because what will start happening is now everyone that's, been laid off, everyone that sort of lost their jobs or whatever the case was, how are those companies going to start up again? What's their plan? Because I mean, it's not going to be people are waiting for some mad rush the day that they announce it's over. People are just expecting a mad rush to the restaurants and the bars and the clubs and the parks and the stadiums and all that. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
That's what we were talking about, even between me and my friends. When they open everything back up, there's a good chance that I'm not going to go to events. I'm not going to go out. Even if it's available, even if I can go to the club or go to an event, the likelihood of me actually going, because of how much they've said that there's going to be a second wave once that happens, I'm not going to go. I'm going to keep my happy in my house and do what I can. I mean, obviously I'm not going to lock myself in like I am now, but the fact that, especially the US, they're pushing this, open the country, let's go, and the thing is you're going to make it worse, especially in a country as big as the US,
There was I'm going to try and find it actually, because there was one of the governors has said that bars and restaurants will be open by the end of April.
Yeah, a lot, but that's not just that guy. It's a lot of red states that are going in that direction because they're following Trump's "we need to open." It's probably either Massachusetts or Ohio, I believe, but it's crazy. Anyways, so we live I don't know how it is in the UK or how antsy people are getting there, but here everybody seems pretty chilled. But even then, I'm still not gonna go. Well, give it a minute, you know. Like, there's no need for me personally to rush back into that life, knowing that there's been doctors and scientists saying that there's going to be a second wave if we do that, right?
Yeah, that's true. I think
don't be an idiot, guys. Okay.
Yeah, don't be stupid. There's really a lot of, yeah, I mean, I don't want to drone on about it too long, but there's a lot of uncertainty about what life looks like now and what it's going to look like in 6 months. But I'm less worried about the 6 months. I'm more worried about 18, 24 months. Has it changed how you're approaching your day to day? Are you, in terms of whether you're looking forward to the next 6 months, the next 12 months, has it changed how you look at things?
I think the only thing that it's really forced me to do, and I think this is with a lot of creators, is figured out what I can do online. Like, at the end of the day, like, if all this continues, let's be real. If my boss sees this, hey, how long is he going to actually be able to keep me if all I'm doing is editing Zoom calls? You know what I mean? Like, what's that realistically look like if it does take 6 to 8 months? Then I need to make sure that I have other ways of financially staying stable online, and how to generate money online, and how to make that a steady stream of income, essentially. And that's even down to this podcast, what kind of things we can do off the back of this, or what kind of editing I can do for other people's podcasts, or you know, whatever it is. But that's I think the only thing that's changed is not doing shooting in person, but actually figuring out how to make that work online.
Else you can anywhere else.
Right.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's jump in to our, speaking of content, then let's jump into our content pieces that we wanted to talk about today. I want to talk about an interview between Russell Brand and a gentleman called Richard Ayoade. He's a director, writer, and comedian from the UK. Mm-hmm. And they did a very, very interesting interview that I'll send you the link for. And what I found the most interesting about it was sort of the way that they were speaking to each other, and the kind of the cadence, the back and forth of the conversation. And I think it's the reason that I enjoy podcasts so much. But interestingly enough, the piece of content that I consumed was video content. So it was video, and it literally just looked like Russell Brand and Richard Ayoade sat in Russell's shed. Like, they just had, like, it's just bare wood walls, 2 microphones, like super simple setup. I think it was a 3 camera setup. But it was the comfort. It was such a comfortable environment. I don't really know how to put it into words, but I guess what I'm getting at is, I think podcasts specifically, and a reason that I think they're so good now for consumption and for creation, is that they can be very, very comfortable to make and to consume. It's not like crazy levels of overproduction. It's not like,
right,
you know, it's not like Gary's 7-hour vlog of his Dubai trip. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, there are plenty of different types. It's not like a Lord of the Rings film. It's not like you have to like sit for 3 hours and you're still like super tense all the time. And you get up when you're finished and your like muscles are like aching from being tense the whole time. And like, it's not like that. Podcasting, I find, is it's super relaxed. And I think that's probably why I like them so much, and why I'm enjoying so much this process of creating it. Is because it's just like, it really is, when you bring it back to its bare basics, it's just a chat. It's a chat with a friend. And I think that as a result, I think podcasts will continue to grow. There's a feeling that it's sort of getting a bit saturated. And I'm like, I know for a fact there's like 6 different podcasts that dropped in the last couple of days. And if it were any other kind of content, I might be worried, but I'm not, because it's a podcast, and it's just made for the sake of enjoying making content. if that makes sense.
And having like, I think, and my thing is growing up, let's be less dramatic. Since I was like, let's say 22, people continue to tell me that I should do a podcast, and it's because we all know that I can get a little chatty. And I would always have these opinions about things, right? And so everybody would tell me, like, just direct that somewhere, like put that somewhere and let people consume it as they will, right? And two of my friends specifically, they were like, if you would just record this, that I can listen to it every morning, like on my way to work. And it's like the perfect like podcast consumption, right? And so that's why, first of all, I like doing it with you, is it's not too serious. Is it's just us having a conversation, quarantine diaries, what's up, like having a chat about what's actually going on. And two people who may or may not give a but the people who are directly around us, I know will care, you know, and they'll appreciate the input, and they'll appreciate the opinions, and they'll appreciate our selective point of views, right? How far that goes outside of that, that's to be determined. Who likes us, you know what I mean? Like how much people see value in that. But even if it just stays here, right? Even if it's just like our direct community who finds value in it, or who enjoys the content, or is entertained by it, like I feel like that's good. You know what I mean? Like I think I need to talk too much, so it's definitely an outlet for me to talk.
I'm also I'm also excited. I'm excited at the idea of not having too many restrictions. Like just it's not there's no, oh my gosh, don't say this or that because you've got to be on brand. No, like it's just the point is to just completely be yourself, and completely just have the conversations that you want to have about whatever the hell you want to talk about.
But that has to be something that's weird for you with me, because at the beginning of this, I kept trying to get Michael to like put in systems. Like, how are we releasing it? Are we doing like a micro, the audio and the thing? He's like, yo, like.
It doesn't work like that, dude. Not like this isn't. That's like, not how this is gonna be.
This isn't one of our clients. Like, you can just like chill. Well, I was like, oh, and it was actually like I had to legitimately sit down and go, okay, like this isn't like mass production, you know what I mean? I'm used to having to work at like a
distinction I would just throw in there as well. It's like, in terms of like, as in not too serious, that doesn't mean that there's less quality. That doesn't mean that the intention is less. Like there's just as much intention. Like if and this is for the audience, like if you guys knew how much we talk about this, and like how much thought and time in the back end just ideating because we enjoy it, and because we don't want it to be too serious. We want the content to be right, if that makes sense. Like I'm not overly concerned about systems and processes and stuff. Like while it's literally just you and I creating something that's this simple, I'm just happy to create. Like, and I think that's probably my focus for the next, I don't know, 10 15 episodes, whatever. Like it's just to create, because I think that you and I, specifically knowing you and I in the way that we work, we don't get enough time to sharpen our own creativity. We don't get enough time to work on our own content.
100%.
And to be able to, it's not that we don't get enough time, but it's just we just don't prioritize it. And I think that going back to prioritizing it so that we can kind of get it out is
right.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the point.
Agreed. 100% agreed. So enjoy our content. Click the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm gonna shamelessly plug this forever, just for kicks.
Just for fun. That's why we started a podcast, so that we can just say, go subscribe to my YouTube.
Okay, so going back to your point here with the Russell Brand thing, I didn't watch that, though he did actually share it with me, and I didn't watch it because great podcast host. I watched another piece. I know, I just figured I'd throw full transparency here, guys. Okay. I watched a piece with Russell. What's his name? Brand. Is that his name?
Russell Brand.
Why does that feel wrong?
It's Russell Brand.
Okay, Russell Brand and Dr. Shefali.
Okay.
And the only thing I kept thinking that whole time was like, this is okay. So
he's like just disclaimer. I think he's probably, as far as I'm concerned, a perfect human being specimen.
No, I'm not going to say anything bad about him. So you're good.
Okay. All right. Good. I just wanted to get that out there. Russell, if you ever say, I love you.
Russell, he loves you. Hey guys, tag Russell Brand in the comments.
Russell Brand.
There's like 3 tags. It's gonna be me, you, and then like my mom.
Thanks, Alicia's mom.
Thanks, mom. But so okay. If heaven could be the perfect place in my mind, it would be just a bunch of cinemas where I could just sit in and watch any point of history ever. Like any point. Like if I could just sit and just watch any point in history, right? Just be a fly on the wall and see what made Hitler. You know, like what was the tipping point?
Why'd you have to go there?
Because it's the most extreme, gets your attention, right? No, but just like anything, or see the life of like a gypsy in like the 1800s, you know, just like any kind of like something I'll never be able to experience, something I'll never be able to, they'll never be a part of me that can even remotely come close to what that looks like. You know what I mean? No matter where I travel, no matter what I do. So that's what podcasts are for me. Is like when there's 2 people that I admire having a conversation, it's like being a fly on the wall of something that I want. You know what I mean? Like these 2 people are like it's a glimpse into their lives. It's like them having a conversation. I just get to sit there and be like, continue. It's like, so I watched Snoop Dogg's show, and for that, like, it's super like underproduced, like just real basic, like great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? His YouTube show?
Yeah.
Okay. So like this, it's just like him chilling with like another human. And I just feel like I can be or witness something
in that moment. Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
I love the way that you describe that, because I literally said, I don't know how to put it into words, but I think that might be it. It's that feeling of like, it's just, you know, that in that situation, that conversation is happening in front of maybe 2 other people, one other person, like in that room with the 2 of them sitting there. But it's just like, just to be there and see it and like watch them. And like, it sounds so strange, but like just to see the people way that they are as human. Yeah. It's just like, you're an awesome human being. And I like to just see you existing and thinking and speaking. And
this is all the reason. This is also the reason why I'm super excited that Will Smith has a YouTube channel. I know YouTubers did not like this, but I was like,
why do you think it is? Why do you think that is? Everyone got like super vexed and everyone was really upset that he had it. Why? Is that because
the same reason
why kind of cheating, isn't
it? Well, yeah, it's the same reason why like TikTokers don't like that celebrities are on TikTok. This is our place to be famous, you know. This is our like little celebrity, and you can't come in here with your real fame and ruin it for us.
It's like it's like all the people from Vine. TikTok has got super like, they got super protective. Like people from Vine started coming and doing their Vines on TikTok, and like the same stuff that they used to do on Vine on TikTok, and they were just like,
I respect it, Vine, get it.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
No, so I just think it's that. I just think there's like, I think that if YouTube didn't push Will Smith so much, like they didn't put him in like the YouTube Rewind and they didn't do like this stuff, it would have been fine. But it was the fact that he was being treated as a YouTuber when he wasn't. He's Will Smith. You know what I mean? Like you're not a YouTuber. You didn't edit that video. You didn't put in like the grit and the grime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, while I appreciate that he has one and I love watching it and like I'll consume that content all day,
but he's not
I get, exactly. He's Will Smith. He's Will Smith on the YouTube platform. He's not a YouTuber.
That's interesting. Okay, cool. Tell me about your piece of content that you liked. You mentioned a song.
Okay, you say the name of the song.
Ilo Milo.
That Billie Eilish. What is it called? 8-bit?
No. It's I thought I was thinking of something else, but it's 8D. So it's like
8D. There you go.
Like 3-dimensional, but it's like 8-dimensional, I think.
It's so cool. Okay, so this went around in Dubai on like a chain like WhatsApp message, and everybody was forwarding. I think I got it like 3 different times from 3 separate people, and they're like, listen to this with headphones, it's so cool. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Because I hate that forwarded thing, like, and it says forwarded right on the top of it. I know you're not like sending me something because like you were like, oh, I found this and it's cool. You're like forwarding it because somebody else forwarded it to you. Let's be real. So I didn't care. And then and then I was going to clean out my phone because we have to do these podcasts and I am recording them on my phone. I need space. And I have this 4-minute file in my audio file. And I was like, oh, this is what everybody was telling me to listen to. Happens that my flatmate is eating at that time and I hate hearing people eat. So it's a great excuse to put my headphones on and listen to this song. And it is the dopest thing ever, guys. Like, it feels like it's moving around your whole head. I've never heard something like that. I'm way too hyped on it, but I was sitting there and it goes and it moves from right to left, right? And you're like, okay, basic. I can do that. I can do that on Premiere. You know what I mean? And then it started moving to the top of my head and the back of my head and the front of my, and I was like, what witchcraft is this? And I was it's such an experience. Okay, we're gonna link to it if you're watching this on YouTube in the description. Michael will tell you where he's gonna link to it. And audio show notes. Yeah, that's where he's gonna link it. But listen to this. Listen to it with headphones. Like, sit down. If you smoke a cigarette. If you don't, drink a coffee. Whatever your thing is, whatever your chill thing is, do that. Listen to this song. It is, oh my God, it's so cool. Okay, I think that's my piece of content. You have to listen to it to understand my hype.
Are we just gonna leave it there?
Yeah, I mean, do you have any? That's all I have to say about it. I need you to listen to it and then comment what you think about it. But like, what else am I gonna say about it besides? Oh.
No, fair enough. Like, yeah, by all means. My microphone stand won't cooperate, but
do you have something to say about it, Michael?
I not to get too existential again, but I like it because someone has not attempted, because stuff like kind of using that stuff in like audio techniques has happened before, but I enjoy that people are thinking outside the box and or outside the headphones, if you will. Like, I like that.
I want to figure out how to do it. If I can do that to our podcast, man, I want to make everybody listen to our podcast, and we're going to be walking around them.
How cool would that be? I will send you a video and explain to you why we can't do it. Because it's incredibly expensive equipment. I don't like you telling me
but I can't do it. That's rude.
All right, you can do it, but
whatever I want.
You're gonna have to figure it out.
No, it's just a hypothetical, Michael. If I could, I said if I could, I would, and you were like, no.
I'm a realist. But I think what I really enjoyed about it is just that someone's doing something interesting. Much like there's a musician, a guy called Jacob Collier.
Okay. Did you send me
really
him?
Fun. I think I did. Yeah. You probably also didn't listen to him.
No, I did. That one, I think that's the one I said I loved because I did watch that.
Oh, it's possible. Which was that the live one?
Yeah, and then another guy came on stage with it. Yes.
But the thing is, right? Like you would listen to him if you were to like listen to Jacob Collier's music. There's another song called "Time Alone with You." Also, it's also with Daniel Caesar. So Jacob Collier and Daniel Caesar did the song together, and if you were to listen to it with like a normal pop music brain, it'd be like,
yeah,
what the hell is this? But
yeah,
if you just listen to it, no judgment, just as a, especially if you are really, really into music, and if you're a musician and you understand music, it's so beautiful, it's so much fun.
So what I'll say is I would, it's the experience. I think that in order to really understand it, you either need to watch that video to understand like because it's everything. It's his mannerisms. It's him smiling. It's him getting the audience
involved. He's an incredible
involved.
performer. So good.
It's just that whole thing, you know. Like I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I would sit and listen to his music outside of that, but I loved watching the entire experience. You know, like watching him just like sing and then just like trail off and then like hit a thing and then people would laugh and then he would get them to sing and then he would get different parts of the audience to sing and everybody's like just like, you know, when they tell you to be in the moment, everybody in that room was in that moment. You know what I mean? Like that is like 100%. The epitome of like be in the moment. It was. We'll link to that as well if you want to watch that.
So many of the links in the below.
Well, I mean, we're talking about content. That's our whole thing, right? We can't just be talking about content obliviously, not letting you guys in on it.
Oh my God, this thing is not.
We're having
technical difficulties.
Yes, well, he does that. We'll go into our next section.
Explain to us, what does it mean to you, Alicia, to be nerdy? What does it mean to you to do you? First of all, actually, let's take a step back. How do you feel about the word nerd or geek?
Okay, so I'm completely happy with it. I'll in the title all day and all night. Me and my Star Wars pillows are happy as can be. That being said, I'm going to answer all your other questions really quick. I don't think nerd means the same thing today as it did, let's say, even 15 years ago or 20 years ago. When you were a nerd before, you were like getting bullied, you were smart more so, or you did like Star Wars and you were nerdy. And now nerds run Silicon Valley and are filthy rich. So like I don't think nerd is the same thing anymore. So for me, I love the word. I'm good with it. We're happy. We're chilling. But I think that's different today than it used to be. You know what I mean? When nerd was an actual like insult.
I think for me,
you wouldn't. Nerds know how to set up their microphone.
Ooh. Can you make a micro about this and then call yourself rude, please? Because that was rude.
He's attacking my editing. Rude.
I'm actually not attacking it. I thought it was brilliant editing.
I know. I am brilliant. Thank you. As long as we're both in the know.
What an ego.
Confidence, not ego.
I'm just going to have to hold it. Like I'm literally holding my microphone up, which is fine. Okay.
Can you explain to me what the issue is?
I don't really fully understand it myself. I just want to talk about being a nerd because apparently I'm not one. I think for me, someone described it very interestingly. They said that it comes down to that moment where you're sitting and having a conversation with someone and you ask them to tell you something about themselves or something they like or what they want to do.
Right.
And they'll describe it to you. They'll say, oh, I really like XYZ. For example, let's say I don't know. What's something super niche? Okay, maybe not so niche.
Model cars.
Yeah, okay. Model cars. I like model cars. I've got this collection at home that I've been sort of collecting for the last 10 years, whatever. I've got all of these really priceless pieces that like collector's items, whatever, But you don't want to hear about that. So it's stupid. I don't need to talk about it. And it's that moment, it's that little bit where someone turns around while they're talking about the thing that they're most passionate about. And they say, no, it's stupid. You don't want to hear about that. Somewhere in their brain, in their past, in their history, someone has turned around and said to them, ew,
stop talking about that.
You're a nerd. Don't talk about that. No one wants to hear about that.
That made me really sad.
But it is. And I think it is really
because
sad.
I have a friend who's like that. And he's really close to me. Like I love him a lot. And he's explained why he's like this like a bunch of times. And it's exactly that. It's even when he was just telling me about his like travel trips, he would constantly stop talking. And I was like, why is it so hard for you to just tell me? And I was kind of being a bitch because like that's my, sorry for cussing. That's kind of my like thing, which he's very well aware of that. So it wasn't out of character. And he didn't think that I was being like to him, but it's just my like nature.
That's your default. Yeah.
It's my default. So I'm like, why can't you just like get it out? And he's like, well, because I don't think that anybody wants to listen to it. And I was like, it like broke my heart.
It's not even, I think what I find most interesting is it's not even about, I don't think anyone wants to listen to it. There's a specific moment where a specific person in their life has said, I don't want to hear it. And it was obviously one person who was of a certain significance, that person. It was just like, oh, like, I think, yeah. And so, okay. So with that explanation and with that kind of context added to it, what do you think that people have more freedom to be nerdy now?
Let me ask you that question, because I just spent a lot of time telling a whole story. So what about you? Do you think people have freedom now?
Whether they have it or whether they use it, I think, is perhaps an interesting distinction. I think that there is certainly space in the world for it now.
Yeah.
We have infinite access to the things that we like and the freedom to have it.
Yeah.
But do we maybe it's within friendship circles, I don't know, it's friends or it's family or it's society at large, but I'm not so sure that that freedom is taken just yet. I don't know why it is, but I do.
But do you think that that's okay? So if you had to like speculate on why that is, would it be because you think people are still scared, or because people are like inwardly kind of doing that thing that you said, where they're that moment? Do you think it's that?
I think that moment is still and probably will forever happen. I think that okay, it probably happened when someone was a kid, and kids are assholes. Like, kids can just be mean.
If you're a kid, don't be an asshole.
Be nice to people. Like I really mean that. Like I think that society will always have that feeling where something wanting to be cool, wanting to be a badass, you know, and they just the idea of someone else being fun, or like, do you know what I mean? I just think that there will always be that moment where someone tells someone else to just stop talking because they don't think that hearing about it is cool.
Yeah.
So I think that will always happen, and I think it will be a great victory for the world the day that people are allowed to be nerdy, that people are allowed.
Okay, so then I have another question. Do you think that the internet helps or hinders that?
That's a tough one. That is an incredibly
Don't say
tough
both.
one.
It's a cop out.
No, but it's not a cop out. And I hate that you know that I was going to say both. But no, I do think it is both. I think in the same sense, it's how you use it. As a person, and in the environments that you're in, your family, your friends, the kind of energy that you have around you. It's how you use the internet. I think that if you're the kind of kid whose family has given them the space or the time to enjoy the things that they want to enjoy, because it can equally be a family thing. It doesn't have to be kids at school. Right. But I think that if the environment that you are in, and of course it's more difficult to curate your environment as a kid, but I think that if the environment that you're in is more supportive, then yes, it's very easy for you to, then it does, of course, the internet will help you. But if you're in an environment that, and vice versa, if you're in a really tough environment, and like I know kids, like close friends of mine growing up, that the internet was a savior. Like being able to enjoy the stuff that they enjoyed, then nerdy, geeky stuff, whatever made them nerdy to the mainstream, the internet saved them. Like
there was a group of people on the internet who understood.
100%. And I know for a fact that that's a thing. So does it help? Does it hinder? I know that if you're on the wrong places on the internet, it can be a nasty, nasty place. It can be really, really rough. Like, but it's how do we teach people to to use it in the way that it helps and doesn't hinder. Do you know what I mean? Like
But that's so funny. I think
that
should be something as a parent that you learn how to do, that you teach your kids how to do, because it is such a real thing. And it's the same thing, like your parents would say, don't hang out with this person, they're bad news, or don't hang out with this person because they're taking you down a wrong path or whatever. It should be the same thing with, okay, well, and in some cases parents are wrong, right? Like my best friend growing up, my mom did not like her because she wore hoop earrings. That was my mom's like, no.
Yeah, it's dangerous, them hoop earrings, you know.
Well, she was like 12 or 11 years old, and my mom, she walked up my driveway. My mom looked at her, said nope, and then walked away, like, to an 11-year-old little girl. And I was like, what? Okay, I guess no from her. So like, so sometimes parents are wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. My whole point is that as parents, it should now be their job in this generation to teach your kid how to be on the internet. And like, whether that's who you surround yourself on the internet is the same as who you surround yourself with in person. What kind of content you follow on the internet is going to dictate a lot of like your mental state. You know what I mean? Like if you're following a lot of like, for lack of better analogy right now, because it's the easiest one, is if you're following all these like super skinny like supermodels and you're like not super skinny, that's gonna like hurt you mentally, you know what I mean? Where if you teach your kid how to follow like body positive movements, or like brands that like include all like whatever it is, like teaching your kid how to be on the internet, I think should be something that we as a society learn how to teach our kids. You know what I mean? No?
I think it's so difficult. It's actually, no, it's not difficult. It's impossible. You can't.
It's not impossible.
You can't. No. Hear me out, Alicia. Cut in. It's impossible to put a peg on one way to do it. It's impossible to be like, okay, cool, XYZ, this is the solution.
Okay, of course. Then in that way, I agree with you.
And I think,
but what I'm saying is that we have to try. Like we can't just be like,
100%.
Whatever happens, happens.
It is what it is.
We can't just be rolling the dice, like trying to cultivate that like positive environment to be in, regardless of whether that's in person or on the internet. It should be, even if it sucks, a task that we as parents, or I'm not a parent, so whenever I am, this generation of parents needs to learn how to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not to make it too dramatic, but I think it is it saves lives. Like there's to have a world where people could feel like they can be themselves. And I know that a lot of people, there are plenty of people that don't need anyone to tell them it's okay to be you. Plenty of people are just like, like I am me anyway.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy place to be at. If you're not there, getting to that point, it's not easy.
No.
So I think that if in any way, gods of the internet, the universe, everything, if you help the kids, man, help the kids.
Truly.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So that's my point. Is what does it mean to be nerdy, and is it okay to be nerdy? And I think it is okay. I think anyone who says, hey, you're being a nerd, be like, yeah, damn right I am. I'm really good at it. Fuck you.
Honestly, that though, and again, like what you just said though, it's so hard to get to that place. This is okay. So my sister has like a lot of like, sorry, sister, has like a lot of like insecurities that I don't believe that she should have, right? Like I think, like, okay, I'll give you I don't think I can. She's gonna be so mad. Okay,
don't go too deep into it. Give me something surface level.
Well, it is surface level, but it's a big deal when you're in a small town.
I know,
you know what I mean?
But give me something simple.
This is the simple one, but it's again, okay, anyways. So like she won't do her makeup if she's going to certain places because of fear of people saying, oh, well, why did you get dressed up? Like, who are you trying to show out for? Like, oh, okay, now you think you're better than us kind of thing. You know what I mean? And
tell her, send this to her. Tell those people to watch this minute in the record. I don't know where we are in the recording. Tell them to watch this bit. Listen to me. Shut your mouth. Thank you. Sorry, carry on now.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's what I told her. I was like, you just need to get a heavy dose of, like, you just need to just not, and it's so hard because when it's ingrained in, like, I remember what it was like to be in that town and every move you made was being judged. So it's kind of hard to feel really secure in yourself.
Are you still in touch with anyone from there? Are you like, do you still talk to people from that town?
Very, very few.
That's interesting.
I'm not a fan of that place. Anyway, so my sister, hello sister, won't do these things. And that's just as simple as makeup. That's something very like, I won't wear the lipstick because people are going to judge me for wearing the lipstick. Imagine people who aren't into something that's just like regular schmegular as makeup. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you're in really small environments where everything's just gossipy and you have to be cool and you have to like.
That's the entire thing though. Like that's the environment that I'm talking about. Like if you, how are you going to be a nerd in that environment? That environment's not going to let you be a nerd.
You have to be a mean nerd.
Yeah, well, those exist.
The bad news bears.
So
I'll tell you one story. And this goes back to something that you said before, was that, and then we can end this podcast because we've been talking for 56 minutes. About like being cool. There was this girl we went to high school with, and she's very much set still in high school times. And she's turned into this very, very like mean person. And she thinks it's cool. And to be fair, me and my best friend in high school were very mean. But we also had like so many things going on at home. There was a lot to be said for like everything that was going on and why we were the way we were. We were never bullies, but if somebody crossed a line, we definitely took that to the extreme. As me and this one got older, you learn to let go of that anger. You learn to be nicer. You learn to like, again, say it and just be who you are authentically without having to have that like anger shield up. You know what I mean? Where this other girl saw that as admirable. Say that word. Admirable qualities, and is now so proud of it. And that was her defense mechanism. And like being the bully is like an accomplishment. I'm like, you can't be like that. Like, it's not a good thing. Like, as you grow up, you should get better, not worse. Guys.
I have many things that I want to say about this. Which surely because of the amount of time that we've taken, we will put in another episode. But I think
okay, so let's make that the next episode.
Personal growth. Episode 5 is personal growth.
Episode 5, personal growth. Personal growth.
That's deep for episode 5. But then again, I mean, yeah, it's all
what
good.
Else are we gonna do? We in quarantine, girl. Okay, guys. So episode 5, we will talk about personal growth, kind of to finish up this conversation because it's been long.
And that brings us to the end of episode 4. Is this thing on podcast Quarantine Diaries? First, thank you so much. If you are watching right through to the end of this, you're a G. Thank you very much. And of course, please give us the likes, comments, reviews. Give us 5 stars. We would love to hear from you. Anywhere that you are consuming this content, please leave us feedback. We'd love to hear from you. We are hoping to bring more great content like this, and we would love to improve it and make it better for you. If you are listening on any of the podcast stores, of course, do the ratings and reviews. YouTube specifically, subscribe, hit that notification button, hit the thumbs up. It would help us greatly. And of course, it will tell you when we release episode 5. So that's all from me. Thank you so much, Alicia.
He said it all. Hit the subscribe button here. If you want to watch more content, hit there. Seems about right, the area. There. And then we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Ciao.
Adios. Okay, also news topics, anything in particular you want to talk about, or you want to just roll with it, just have a conversation?
The fact that oil is trading at negative.
Oh my god, negative. I saw that. Holy Okay, see, this is the kind of reactions we need to have on the podcast. Let's stop talking about it beforehand. The only thing is we actually need to talk about.
Every time.
Yeah, we need to stop doing it.